All right, let's go over Boogie, because Boogie said some really questionable stuff right here. Now, granted, he probably deleted the tweets. Let me go ahead and load it up right here. All right.
Yeah, I actually don't know about this at all.
So Boogie said some questionable things today. Now, we'll go ahead and start it where he gets into the argument with Count Dankula, and then we'll go ahead and read it off here. Now, let's see. Boogie says
Is it
here...
over a Count Dankula's pug?
Well, basically, I'll give you like a rundown. Boogie basically thinks that any person who misgenders a trans person should go to jail. That's literally what he said. Now, if that doesn't ring a few alarm bells, I don't know what to tell you, but let's go ahead and read what he says here. Now, depending on the context, I think hate speech almost always looks and sounds like verbal assault. Thank you, Dr. Chivago, for the sub. If you're verbally assaulting someone and using their identity to do it, that's hate speech to me. Get locked the fuck up right away. Now that's an oof right there, and you can see he's already getting ratioed in the replies
I think the get locked the fuck up for that right away comment was the bad part. The rest, like, I think you could have, like, I think it's fine to say. It's just an opinion, but then saying people should be locked up for saying words, it's just like...
Yeah, I mean, I definitely disagree with it altogether. I don't think there's a single thing here that I agree with, but the get locked up part, like, that's like, I don't know about that.
Like,
I would strongly disagree.
Valid until then.
Yeah, I would strongly disagree. Boogie says, but I think most comedians on stage in a club probably have the right to tell jokes, but if they verbally assault a patron due to their identity, lock them the fuck up.
Lock them up, dude. A comedian says, hey, like, misgenders them for a joke. Immediately the cops come in, people surround the comedy building, like... He gets escorted out, dude. Like, all the people who paid to watch it just have to, like, walk out. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's an emergency.
This is not good.
God damn it. Dude, this is what the world's gonna be like in 10 years, dude. Like, the fucking, the SWAT team comes in.
Exactly. Now, someone replied here, at Count Dankula, get a load of this, and Dankula said, at 2 Boogie. Boogie said, sorry, man, it's been a long time being verbally assaulted online, real life by my own family. I got no room for that shit in my life. I got no problem with jokes, but I have a very big issue with verbal assault. Uh-oh, this ain't good. Now, you just said, notice right before, you just said, verbal assault, if someone basically commits verbal assault, lock them up. But I like jokes. But verbal assault. But if that's a joke, it's so much contradiction.
Well, it can be both. It can be both at the same time. It could be just a joke.
Jesus,
just
the
verbal
voice
assault,
cracks.
or both. Yeah,
literally going through puberty right now.
With me today.
Oh my gosh.
I apologize.
Count Dankula asked a question we're all thinking right now, which is what constitutes as verbal abuse? Who gets to decide? Boogie says, I honestly don't know. Big red flag right there.
Oh,
that kills the argument right there.
You're not solid in your opinion. Have an outrageous opinion, but at least be solid in it. Don't say I don't know.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Probably a code of our own peers. It's obviously very complicated. I get that. Bad reply. That buries them so hard right there. Count Dankula replies, it's a dangerous place to be, man. I've dealt with the exact same stuff growing up, and now I wouldn't want to restrict a person's right to speak to protect feelings. Boogie says, I understand that entirely, and you're absolutely welcome to feel that way. I'm not even saying that you are right, or in that I am wrong, or vice versa. I'm just saying we should not put up with verbal assault. I don't understand the point of it. Wait, so you're not saying you're right and he's wrong, or vice versa. Then what are you saying, Boogie?
But you're saying they should be locked up. I feel like that's a pretty concrete opinion if you're like, they should be locked up in all caps.
Yeah, that's not the best take. Count Dankula says, let's see, what does he say here? If someone doesn't like you and they say it in a hateful way and you get them arrested over it, will it change if that person's opinion of you? Will it change the person's opinion of you? Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable, which is a good quote right there. Absolutely not.
Yeah, and by the way,
wait,
Count Dankula the guy who's literally like getting in legal trouble for
he's the
teaching
pub
his
guy.
pet how to say? Yeah, so why is Boogie talking to him about locking people up for hate speech? This is like the worst person to like.
He made the point initially, and then someone tagged Dankula into it, which was already a death nail for Boogie right there, because it was like, what's Boogie gonna say, you know?
Yeah, because by Boogie's logic, Dankula should be in jail right now, locked up behind bars.
Exactly. But of course, Boogie doesn't have that standpoint. I genuinely believe he wouldn't want that for Count Dankula. But it's the problem. He says something outrageous, and he's going to get destroyed for it. Boogie says, absolutely not, but it might very well save my life if that person had the intention to harm and the verbal assault was a precursor to it. I don't care about changing minds. I care about not being hurt, and I care about others not being hurt. I think I butchered that reading, but you get the point of what he's saying right there.
I don't know. People type tweets retardedly. I think you said it fine.
Count Dankula says, you have left them with no other option, although Boogie, that's what I meant with that quote. The approach of restricting speech has been proven to not even just work, but make things even worse. Boogie then responds,
I mean,
dude,
people... Okay, here's my opinion. We shouldn't tolerate it, but we shouldn't, like, punish people for it. We can socially punish them by saying, yeah, that's fucked up, don't say that, I'm not gonna, like, respond. And then that'll just incentivize people to not really do it, unless they're socially retarded, but, like...
I think like the practical ramifications of saying stuff is enough punishment as it is. I think like if you say the N-word in public, you're gonna get your ass beat. If you say like if you misgender or transgender person on purpose, you're just being a dick. All right, and I think the social and practical ramifications of those two instances are enough punishment. Enough. I don't think I think throwing the book at it is the last thing we want to do for a multitude of reasons. And I fail to see how Boogie didn't realize this before typing. But who knows? Maybe he has that issue that you have where you just tweet stuff and you don't think about it. Oh my, no, just.
I think about it a bit. Sometimes I tweet stupid shit on purpose. I actually changed my bio yesterday to say majority of my tweets are satirical because they are, and people don't realize that. So hopefully,
people could view that as a shield, though, don't you think?
I guess, but like it's actually true. So,
is it true though?
My tweets being mostly satirical, yeah.
I look at your tweets as mostly your opinion. I don't really view them as like satirical implies that you're like joking or something, or you're playing some sort of character.
I literally said I'm subbing to T-Series as one of my tweets.
Well, yeah, obviously that one, but for the most part, you're tweeting about drama and stuff like that. You're tweeting your opinions. You're tweeting your videos out. Is it really fair to say that all your tweets are satirical? This is a question I have for you.
Maybe 50-50. I said majority, but it might be 50-50.
I think the problem with putting that as your bio is that people are going to look at that as a shield because you've already been called out so much already. People are going to be like, oh, look, Bowblax is just shooting so that if you tweet a serious opinion, that's your serious opinion. But if you tweet something that's questionable, then all of a sudden people can't question it because it's a shield. I think there's a problem. I feel like
there's tells in my tweets to where they are serious and where they're not serious. But I don't know. I only can see it from my point of view, so I wouldn't know if like a tweet I make is clearly satirical in the way I type it or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I just my personal advice to you. I think that putting that in your bio that your tweets are satirical, I think that's gonna set you up for criticism. People are gonna view that as a shield. Because, okay, so all your tweets are satire, but you're tweeting genuine stuff at one time, but if you tweet stuff that's questionable that people call out, you can just say, oh, it's just satire. It's the same Leafy defense he used 3 years ago.
No, if I tweet something questionable, that's my opinion, I won't use that.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I just saying, I think
I know what you're saying, though.
Yeah,
I might
exactly.
change it, I'm not sure. I just put it there.
What's going on, Doplex? How you doing? Anyway, Boogie then replies, dude, I don't know why this is complicated for you, so I'm going to try one last time to explain it. Jokes, fine. Disagreement, fine. Debate, fine. Thinking bad shit, fine. Saying bad shit, fine. Personally threatening and attacking me, not fine. Why is that fine to you?
Well, it's not... Is misgendering to portray a joke? Like, I'm guessing he was talking about, like, a comedian saying, like, a joke on stage to a patron.
I don't know what he's talking about. I genuinely don't have any clue what he's saying here.
Because they're saying stuff to be edgy and make a joke, even if it's distasteful, and then there's stuff to do with actually malicious intent. And I guess the question comes in: is it like malicious the way they're saying it, or is it just like a tasteless joke? Because like if they actually think that way and actually like hate trans people with a passion and are doing that to purposely attack them, then I guess that there's an argument to be made. But like if it's just an edgy joke and the other person's offended but the person sending it didn't mean it, then like I don't know if that's personal attack or not.
Yeah, I'm not really,
but I mean really, it's complicated. That's why you can't throw the book at it. Like
yeah, that's there's so many problems there. Now, Count Dankula follows it up with, you said verbal assault, that's an extremely broad term. Some people would consider calling someone an idiot verbal assault. Death threats or incitement, I have an understanding of that. The reason it's complicated for me is because that's none That's not what you said. Now, Boogie clarifies, well, once again, what I clearly meant may not have been what I said. Lock people up for verbal assault, full stop. Everything else in my books is fine. And then he includes a definition here, providing his own definition for the term. Verbal abuse. Verbal abuse is when a person forcefully criticizes, insults, or denounces someone else, characterized by underlying anger and hostility. It is a destructive form of communication intended to harm the self-concept of the other person and produce negative emotions. Yikes! That's a that's a terrible definition to give Boogie. Wow.
That's broad as fuck. And also lock them up for verbal assault. So someone who, even if it's like in the most malicious way possible, like let's say someone like aggressively calls a black person the N-word and actually hates black people. So that constitutes the same punishment as like a murderer being like sent to the same place.
Well, he's not
being
issuing out jail
locking
times
them up.
or like the sentence times that people who get, arrested for these are saying, in fairness. So he's not comparing it to any other action. He's just saying they should be locked up, period. He's not saying they should be locked up for like 1 year or 10 years or something like that. So in fairness to Boogie, he hasn't established the time frame. But wow, was this a bad definition to give? This literally, you could, the previous statement that Boogie, or that Count Dankula just made was that calling someone an idiot could be considered verbal assault to someone. And the definition Boogie gives to establish what he's talking about clarifies Count Dankula's point. Because that could perfectly fit this definition for some people.
Exactly.
So that was oh my gosh. Boogie is
kinda
burying
dumb.
himself right here. Wow, I can't believe he would give that. It's not even... Hey, first off, why is he giving a Google definition in the first place? That's step one. But looking more into it, this was a terrible move to play.
Yeah, these are the type of tweets I'd make. Jesus.
Totally. Nick the Oreo says, if you can't take jokes backlash, you should not be in the internet. And I would agree. Count Dankula says, clearly meant, but not what you said. Forgive me for not being able to read your mind. In fact, going with that definition, I better not criticize you more because that apparently means I should be locked up.
Ooh.
That
was a good reply.
That was good. Boogie says, I love you, man. I think you're smarter than this tweet and you're being purposefully cruel. Oh, Boogie. Boogie. So now you're going to play victim on top of all this. You buried yourself to the bottom. Now you're going to play victim and insult the other guy. Or, well, not insult, but, you're going to demean what the other guy is saying by labeling it as cruel.
I don't think he's understanding what Dankula's trying to, like, say to him.
I hope not. I would genuinely hope not, because he is acting dumb over here. But I do not want you locked up for it, obviously. Well, why not? He's being purposefully cruel. Your definition here establishes that cruel words should lock you up. But you don't want to be locked up? Why not? It fits your definition. He's committed the crime you want so desperately to be real.
Yeah. It's like, because he knows Dankula, he knows that he doesn't want him to be locked up. But if it's some random person he doesn't know does the same thing as Dankula, then, oh yeah, they should be locked up because I don't know how they are as people. Like that, oh my god.
Mad Bomber, we'll be taking calls in a minute. I'd love to hear from you, man. It's been a while. Let's go ahead and continue on here. Let's see. Count Dankula says, disagreeing with you and debating against your points is cruel. Wow. Now, I want you guys to notice real quick the ratio of Boogie. 6 likes, 200. 10 likes, 200. It's very clear what the court of public opinion is arguing here. Now, Boogie ends that up, or he actually goes on here, but let's go ahead and read this. Boogie follows here. Not at all. Maybe I'm reading into it, but it felt like you were warping what I said. How? He's following through with the definition you established. If that's not the case, please accept my apologies. Love you. But he then says, DMs you, by the way, to discuss out of the public eye since I lost this debate so fiercely, lol. Well, at least he has some self-awareness. Would love to talk to you privately about it. Check DMs. We've hatched down DMs, guys. No hate, all good. And then Boogie follows up with, thanks, man. See your points, and I get it. Thanks for listening to how I feel about it and why. Now, let's go ahead and check his Twitter right now because I feel like he's issued a statement about this. Let me go ahead and see.
Oh, even Keem tweeted out.
Yeah, and he retweeted it. Let me go ahead and see what his response to Keem was. Okay, so Keemstar tweeted out at him later on. So if I call you a woman, I should be put in jail. At Boogie, this might be the dumbest anti-free speech I've seen on Twitter. Boogie follows it up with, already did this rodeo Keem, and the internet showed me why I was wrong. As much as I dislike hate speech intended to harm you guys, you guys have shown me why it can't be legislated. Well, I'm glad you finally got through your skull there, Boogie. I mean, it
Yeah,
should be
some
pretty obvious from the
people-
start why this was a bad idea.
Shockmath says we shouldn't lock up people for chanting beta flex, beta flex, beta flex. Yeah, can we lock up Mystic for that hate speech, please? I didn't really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, look at this tweet at the bottom right here, by the way. He includes top 5 misspellings of my name. Nazi, cuck, centrist, douchebag, Boogie. Centrist. I want to focus on that keyword there. There's a reason people call Boogie a centrist. He tries so hard to play both fields here, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't pick a side, Boogie. I mean, he tried to pick a side earlier, and then instantly he's already like, yeah, the internet showed me why I was wrong. I mean, I'm glad that he's realized the mistake of his argument here, but how quickly was that? In just a few hours, people who were tweeting at you were able to convince your whole view on an entire position. This is why people call him a centrist. It's because it's so easy to flip him. You can flip him simply. You make an argument or something. You know, there's so many kids at my school, right? This is a little personal story here. But so many kids at my school, they will say this outrageous stuff or something like that. It doesn't matter how serious the topic is. You could be talking about video games or politics. And I'll go in there and I'll make one point. That's how I genuinely feel. And then all of a sudden, the guy I was talking to, after me saying one sentence in the conversation, will be like, yeah, you know what, Augie, I agree with you. And I'll just be sitting there like, what do you mean you agree with me? You were on the opposite side until I said one sentence, and somehow that was able to flip you completely to my side. That's what Boogie feels like right now. He reminds me of the people I grew up with.
Yeah. I think he actually thinks right most of the time, but like he wants to portray himself
He
as
wants to be the good guy
left.
so much. He's like, yeah, I'm going to stand for, trans people and I'm going to make this, outrageous stuff. But then it blows up in his face and he just digs himself repeatedly into the same hole, throwing out definitions from Wikipedia like that's going to save him when all the definition does is prove the other guy's point.
I think Boogie should just not talk about politics. He just wants to, it's clear from like his tweets and stuff that he just wants everyone to like be loved and love everyone and all that, and that's great.
He's all about the positivity and stuff, but he says stuff
yeah.
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that's why people shit on him. That's why they call him a centrist.
At the very least, even though he stood his stance for like quite a while, he did admit he was wrong, so...
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, he did admit why he was wrong, but going on to that point, it's insane how quickly he flips.
I don't know. It wasn't super quick because he did discuss it back and forth with Dankula. Like, as stupid as his tweets were, he did stand by his
in a whole
position
day.
for quite a while.
His radical position, and it is a radical position, that people who misgender trans people should be locked up. All of a sudden, he changes. Now, I'm glad he changed. I'm glad he realized, but how quickly?
I don't think he completely changed though, because he
still obviously has an issue with people who just shit on other people. I think we all have an issue with that. I think it's reasonable that us as human beings do not like other human beings that are purposely dicks. I think it's very clear why human beings maybe are in favor of that. However, his stance that they should be locked up, thrown in jail, throw away the key. Suddenly, after a few hours of debating people on Twitter, his whole stance changes. And this happens all the time. This happens all the time. Like, he does this constantly. That's why people call him a centrist.
How constant it is.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he should form more like solid beliefs. I mean, it's good
I would argue that he should just
like,
not talk about anything that's not video games and the internet.
Yeah.
And that's not me saying like, oh, he's not allowed to have a voice or something. It's just that every time he puts a voice into a certain issue that's so loaded, he fucks it up.
I mean, maybe he's just not solid in his opinions, and he's trying to like say stuff so he can like start discussions and like get more solid in his political opinions. I don't know. Because there's topics where I'm open to like learning both sides and I don't have a concrete opinion, but then there's other topics where I already like right now have like a concrete opinion and I don't think anyone would change it.
Yeah. By the way, I did tweet something out today that I was actually expecting to get a lot of backlash over. But I tweeted something out. Where is it? Right here. Where the hell is it?
Yeah,
there it is.
I'm pretty sure I replied to it, yeah.
Misgendering a trans person, whether it is intentional or not, should never be a crime. Now, I expect this tweet to get a lot of backlash. Strangely enough, not only did it not get backlash, but actually a few trans people that I know liked the tweet. So there was that. So I'm glad too. But
it's because it shouldn't be like a crime. There should be no legal ramifications for saying.
Like I
words,
said, I think the
don't
social ramifications of saying the N-word to a black person or purposely misgendering a trans person, I think the social ramifications that fall with that are punishment enough.
Exactly. It's overkill.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you say the N-word on, Twitter, you're never getting a job again. Misgender a trans person, it's going down that route as it is, but, people kind of know you're a dick. So I think the social ramifications, that's punishment enough.
Yeah.
Lock them away and throw away the
agree.
key for speech? That's ridiculous.
It's stupid. I mean, it shouldn't be done, but because of the social ramifications, not because, oh, I'm gonna get banned on Twitter, or oh, I'm gonna, be thrown away in jail. Like, it's just, I mean, it's actually really bad. It's counterintuitive because now people are like stopping, not saying like the N word or other things because they don't want to get banned on Twitter, rather than because like it's a dick thing to do, which causes like a lot of younger people to like, spam like the N word other places just to like get out of their system because it's something they can't do, so they're more inclined to do it other places. And it's just like, I mean, it's not a huge issue, but it's kind of weird. It feels counterintuitive what they're trying to do. Like, it's just causing people to like pay attention more to the word and like say it in other places.